So I'm going to do 312G a little bit here. So this is a blank document, absolutely nothing's in here, but I'm going to import my 3D model, 312G. It's going to set it up a little sloppy, so we're going to clean it up with Simulate and Teach. Now, because we are dealing with this feeder for this exercise, I'm going to have to add in a couple other windows. So I'm going to go to View, Dialog Bars, Digital Outputs, and then Dialog Bar, Digital Inputs. So now I can manipulate, this machine. If I do turn on the digital outputs, it spits out a cube. It makes a little bing sound. So with that cube there, that cylinder will always be spitting out at that exact spot. So at this point, I've got the cylinders present. I got to figure out my programming. Now I've got a whole lot of positions for this one. And if you look at the way that they're arranged, they do kind of form some sort of a pattern. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to use what we learned from the last module, 312F. And I'm going to try to use some variables. I'm going to try to cheat. What I would do at this point is on page 4, there's this table, and on page 5, in the commands little box they give you on page 5, they actually give you a lot of information in there. So you get a lot of X and Y coordinates from page 6, but you get a lot of Z information from page 5. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in a bunch of page 4, but then I'm going to go in and program it with some of them being relative and make some sort of a loop out of this so we don't have to write 100 lines of code for something that we could potentially do in less. Alright, so now I'm going to start to program my machine. So I've got all these positions recorded in. They're all on my table in my packet. So I need to spit a cylinder out, so I reset my work cell, but it's gone now. So what I need to do is activate the digital output. So with the program window, we're going to look even further over than we've looked before, and I can turn on output. This should be, if you've set the cell up correctly, on output number 1. I'll type WT and just have it wait 0.5 of a second so it has a second or half a second to spit out, and then I'll turn that output off. Same output, it's on number 1. So then if I run this, it'll spit out a cube or spit out a cylinder and then stop. Oopsies. I'm gonna wait, and we'll just run it. Spits out a cube, gives it the bing, and okay, it turns off. Alright, so we can drop a cylinder. Alright, so this is going to be a very looping function. So what I'm going to attempt to set up is a few things. I want a variable that is going to be where I'm hovering, or in my position. So I'll use the position, the place position. We'll call it AT place. And when I first go through this program, AT place is going to be 20, for example. So then I'll go through, do 20, 24, and 30, and then I'm going to have it loop back and add 1 to AT place. Or before it loops back, add 1. So then it'll go 21, 24, 25, and 31, add 1 to AT place, and it'll continue adding to all of these positions. Alright, so I wrote my whole program. I don't have any remarks in here, so let me add some remarks. So of course I want to put my name in. Know whose it was. I'm typing RE. Let me remember that this is 3.1.2 G, so I know that's what we're doing. So I know first thing I'm going to do is put a cylinder out. So cylinder. The new cylinder, it does that. Set my variables. Breaking things up with the remarks. Alright, so there's where it's looping back. Typing RE, this is the loop start. Alright, so it opens gripper. I'm going to pick it up, go over. This could be done more efficiently. So this is actually going to be the first cylinder in stack, and then down here, close gripper. I'm going to grab the first one, go to AT place, open gripper. I spit out another cube. So down here, this is going to be second cylinder in stack is where I'm going to pick that up. So that's down here, the second cylinder, that's the first one. Again, you could probably make this more efficient, and that's actually what I would like you to try to think about how to do. That's part of the conclusion questions. Here's where I drop it. Change the variables. So if ATPlace is less than 34, it's going to go to loop. If it's not, it'll go back to 99. And then I can just end the program right here. All right, let's see if that works. At this point, we've got everything set. This is where my last trial ended. I keep going through, troubleshooting, finding another error, resetting. You're going to run into challenges. That's entirely how this goes, but I'm going to reset. The last challenge I ran into is at place 0. Never again. Never again. It's at place O, not at place 0. Find better marks or better abbreviations and things will run better so you don't get that mistake between the 0 and the O. Alright, so again, we're going to go over, we're going to pick it up. The other thing I fixed in the meantime, in one of my other takes, that's not going to show up, is the roll angle that was kind of funky earlier on. So we're going to go in, going to go straight down, put it down, let it go. I'm going to let this go through a couple. The real challenge is going to be when we get down to here, we want to make sure that when it adds one to all of them, it's going to actually take us to the next stack. Once that happens, I'll kind of fast forward us. All right, we go up, we go nice, put it down, let it go. Wonderful. All right, let's see if it goes through all here and loops. Wonderful. All right, so it looped. Let's see if it works. Go! I don't have a cube cylinder. Dang it. Alright, so one thing I'm going to do, because I found out when I redid this, when I went back over, when it goes back to loop, it does not add a cube. So I'm actually going to take this whole remark thing, or not the remark thing, new cylinder, that I want my new cylinder. I'm going to turn the output on, wait half a second, then turn it off. This one ended up in a little bit of the wrong spot. We'll put that there. So there's my set variable stuff. Here's my new cylinder stuff. This stuff has to go after the loop. So I'm going to paste it here. It goes above. So there we go. So when it loops back to here, now it adds a new cylinder. I have to do it that way because it needs to add the new cylinder. Make sure my cell is reset. Let's run this through. One thing worth mentioning, so I actually ran through this ahead of time and it said no place at place O. I would recommend maybe using a different label. At place over in my haste to type turned into at place 0, which doesn't work because at place 0 wasn't the same as the variable I defined, so it didn't work. Huh. I'm going to try to figure out why it's doing that rollback thing up at position 100. Spits out my cube, picks it up, drops that down. This is bugging me, so I'm actually going to, okay, so there we go. Undefined variable at place 0. So see, I chose a poor name for that label. I got to go back through and troubleshoot some things, and then I'll come back. All right, so now let's see how it goes. I've had a lot of challenges. I showed some of them, not all of them. I got my roll angle fixed at position 100 because that was kind of a little off earlier. When it looped back, it didn't spit out my next cylinder, so that was a challenge. All right, so at this point, we're going to go up. We'll put it down. I'm going to loop this through to the second stack, and we will see where that goes. So when we're all done, we're going to have them stacked like this. There shouldn't be any more. So this did work. Gotta take my word for it. The recording wouldn't fit. It takes quite a while.